So what if you had a roadmap to see the divine? Not in some far-off, distant heaven, but right here, in everything that's around you. Well, that's exactly the promise of the Bhagavad Gita. This isn't just some ancient philosophy. It's a practical guide for perceiving the infinite. And we're going to dive right in. And this right here is the big question. It's the same exact problem the warrior Arjuna was facing. I mean, if God is everything and everywhere, without any shape or limit, how are you supposed to even start to wrap your head around that? It feels totally impossible, kind of like trying to hold the entire ocean in a tiny teacup. But chapter 10, it makes this incredible promise. It says that if you can truly know the divine in this way, you achieve total liberation. You become free from fate itself. So you see, what we're about to explore isn't just some philosophical game. It's a very real path to ultimate freedom. So, how do we even start? Well, the Gita gives us a really simple but powerful key. It all starts with this one idea. The divine shows up as the peak expression. You know, the absolute best example you can find within any group of things. And it breaks down into this really simple 3-step process you can actually use. First, you just pick a category, anything, let's say warriors. Step 2, you find the absolute pinnacle of that category. The Gita points to Rama. And then step 3, you recognize that peak of courage, that skill, as a window, a little glimpse into the divine. And this works for anything. The most beautiful mountain, the most powerful river, the most brilliant scientist. Now, this completely changes how we think about the phrase, Great Lord of the Universe. Think about it. It's not about someone who builds a house with wood and nails they bought at a store. No, it's someone who actually grows the tree, who mines the iron ore for the nails, who weaves the fibers for the clothes. It's creation from absolute zero. That's the sheer scale of divinity we're talking about here. But that best of everything principle, that's just the warm-up. It's just the entry point. Because the text then offers something way deeper. 2 esoteric blueprints, you could almost call them secret maps, for tracing the divine structure both inside ourselves and out there, across the whole cosmos. Okay, so the first blueprint, the map for our own inner world, it's all built around one number, a number you see in so many spiritual traditions. That number is 7. What this does is it maps the divine directly onto you through the 7 chakras. Each of these energy centers, from the most physical, the most material one, all the way up to the most spiritual, reveals a different face of God. It's a way of seeing the divine not just out there, but as the very architecture of your own being. Let's make this real for a second. Take the 3rd chakra, which is the realm of animal life. The Gita describes God here as the praise in the hymn. So what does that mean? It means that pure, unthinking, ecstatic joy that an animal feels, that raw, bursting life force, that is a form of divine praise. In that moment, the feeling is God. Okay, so we've looked inside. Now we're going to zoom all the way out, from the inner map to the cosmic one. The second blueprint expands our whole view, and it's organized around another really powerful number, 12. And here it is, the cosmic map, straight from the source text. Now, what it tells us is that the 12 zodiac signs, they aren't just for predicting your personality. No, in this view, they are 12 active divine forces that are literally forming our bodies and our minds. Each sign is its own specialized creative power. And when you look at this map, something really interesting pops out. A pattern, a 3-to-1 ratio. For every 3 signs that are manifesting these creative forces, things like movement or speech or self-awareness, there is 1 sign that manifests a limiting force. For example, the sign Cancer is linked to being encased in skin, which, gives us our form, but it also introduces mortality. Okay, but hold on a second. This brings up a really tough question, right? If this map shows divine forces at work, does that mean that God is also the source of limitation, of destruction, of everything we think of as negative? And the text, it doesn't back down from this at all. On one side, it lists all these qualities we'd expect: awareness, wisdom, honesty, joy. But then, on the other side, it explicitly lists pain, death, fear, and even infamy. And just when you're wrestling with that, the Gita drops this absolute bombshell. I create all this diversity. It could not be more clear. The divine is the one single source of both. The light and the dark, the joy and the pain, the fame and the infamy. And this, right here, is the secret to that liberation we talked about at the beginning. Because if the divine is the origin of all states of being, that means you are not the ultimate cause of your own joy or your pain. And realizing this, truly getting this, frees you from that crushing burden of being the sole doer of your life. You know, we've all heard that saying about God, knowing the number of hairs on your head. The Gita takes that idea and pushes it to its absolute limit. The divine isn't just aware of everything. It is the source of every single aspect of existence. The good, the bad, all of it. So where does this leave us? Well, the Gita brings it all back home to that first principle. It reminds us that everything magnificent we see out there, everything powerful, everything beautiful, everything true, all of it is just a tiny spark, a trifling part of a reality that is so much bigger. And then comes the final, truly mind-shattering revelation. Krishna says that after creating and sustaining the entire cosmos, all the stars, all the galaxies, all life, all joy, and all sorrow, all of that was done with just a minute part of himself. And the rest simply remains. So I'll leave you with this to think about. If this entire unbelievably awesome cosmos is being powered by just a tiny fragment of the divine, what does that say about the vast universe of divinity that remains, untapped and waiting, right inside of you?